This is Lethal Black Man. If you take a look at a lot of the celebrities in the black community that were coming up, I would say roughly throughout the in mid 50s, throughout the 70s especially, a lot of those actors and actresses, we were told as children, and some of us today still honor them because they quote unquote broke barriers, or they were stars who were making it in a business that didn't allow black people to really succeed. And to an extent today, it's still the same. Now, I'm not going to take up much of your time, ladies and gentlemen, but I want you to think about this. And I'm not getting you to think about things to make you feel hatred or disgust or displeasure. But I need you to understand this, especially when you think in this particular mindset now and you know exactly what's going on. A lot of these people like Sidney Poitier, Dorothy Dandridge, Sammy Davis Jr., this Diana Sands, I talked about her before, Diane Carroll, Pam Grier, Fred Williamson. A lot of these black stars, especially coming up throughout the 70s, the black exploitation films, they were all about beating the man, all about coming out on top as the black hero or black heroine. Okay? But a lot of these people that we praised, a lot of these people that your fathers, your brothers, anybody who was around back then in their younger years watched those movies and cheered for and fell in love with and had a desire for. A lot of those actors and actresses were not with black people. They weren't with black people outside of the movies. Pam Grier swirled a little. She was with Freddie Prinze. First, she was with, I believe, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and he wanted to convert to being a Muslim, and she didn't want to do it, so he decided to marry someone else who was a Muslim, and she was devastated by that. But then she went on to be with Freddie Prinze, who we know is the actor Freddie Prinze Jr.'s father, who shot himself in 1977. She was with him from 1973 to 1975, and they fell in love, and he wanted her to have his baby, and she was reluctant because of his drug addiction, and eventually left him to be with Pryor, Richard Pryor, that is. So I can give Pam Grier a pass because she did, even though she did date out, she didn't date out with white people, as far as I know. Unless she did it in her later years, which I don't care by them because you're an old woman. But there are many actors and actresses who had white partners. And the thing that kills me, and it always does, is the fact that I understand you want to be an actor. I understand you want to be famous. Most of them didn't want to be famous for black people. They wanted to be famous for themselves. Okay? We give these people credit like Maya Angelou. And Maya Angelou was married to white men. Okay? Even though she was a good poet, she was married to white men. She even did the script, I believe, for Georgia, Georgia, which Diana Sands starred in when she was close to her death in 1972. She died in 73, I believe, and she did this movie where she was swirling with this white man. Okay? Back then, the agenda was not as strong as it is now, but it was there. Okay? I looked at some of these actresses and some of these actors from back in the day, and I'm very disappointed in them. Very. Sammy Davis Jr. is an absolute, I mean, you can say what you want about the man's performances when it came to singing, but he's an absolute disgrace. Parading around with a number of white women. Sidney Poitier the same way. Diane Carroll, she married a white man, had an affair with Sidney Poitier for a number of years while she was with this white man, eventually divorcing him. Okay? Got into another relationship with a white man who beat her and divorced him a couple of months after that. Then married a black man that she probably would have stayed with, but he was unfortunately killed in a car accident in 1977. And then she married a white man and has been with him for a while. He died, and now I think she is alone. I'm not sure, but I mean, these actresses and actors who we cheered for, my whole point is that we cheered for these people. We like acknowledge them as being some of the first actors that quote unquote broke barriers. Diana Sands wanted to break barriers as an actress who took roles as a black woman that were made specifically for white women. Parading around on screen with white men kissing on them, and while on television, I could respect her for her television prowess, because while she was on television throughout the 60s and the early 70s, she was always with a black man. So at least while she was on TV, she represented the black community. But a lot of black people didn't like the fact that she was on these big screen movies and kissing on white men. And near the end of her life, she did do 2 movies, one Willie Dynamite and the other one Honey Baby, where she did have black actors as her love interest. The thing with me is, a lot of these firsts that we celebrate them for what they have done, the accomplishments that they made. But all this time while they were trying to become Hollywood stars, Dorothy Dandridge is a very big example of that. Nothing but white men for her. Man, I tell you, all these beautiful black women that black men lusted after, the majority of them were with white men or non-black men. And these leading black men, who were few and far between in back in the day, were not with black women. They were with white women. Sammy Davis Jr. was part of the Rat Pack with Sinatra and I can't remember the other 2 guys. I don't even care. But if you guys know, you probably already know. Your parents have told you, your grandparents have told you. This guy paraded around with white women all the time. I can't respect that. I mean, maybe I respected that when I was a child, but now that I feel the way that I feel, my mindset is the way I am with black first. I don't give a shit if you don't like it. I do, because I believe in loving my people first and loving people outside my community after that. I can't respect the black actors and actresses regardless of what they did, breaking barriers, becoming the first black this, the first black that. I can't respect them because what they did was they didn't show that they loved black people outside of their work and their personal life. They loved the swirl. They got themselves someone who wasn't black. If you truly love black people, then you would get yourself a black mate. This way you can make black children. This is not a hateful message. This is a reality. This is a real message of love right here to my black people who celebrate black love. Okay? I can't respect black actors and actresses now who do the same thing. And they go a step further because they coddle white supremacy. Because they don't want to lose their position. They don't want to lose their job. The thing that kills me about people like Diana Sands and Diana Carroll and Sidney Poitier, you know, and people like Sammy Davis Jr., how the fuck could you allow yourself to be with these people when you saw what was going on in that time period? You saw the lynchings, you saw the racism firsthand as an actor. They weren't treated any better even though they had money and they were on a cinema, on the big screen. Besides, putting everything else aside for the money that you were making in these big budget movies back in the day, how could you as a black person, man or woman, even think, even fathom of being with someone of the so-called dominant society? When you saw the lynchings, you saw the hoses being put on black people, the dogs being released on black people, Martin Luther King being murdered, Malcolm X being murdered, even though that was by our people, unfortunately. I hate to say that. But when you saw all the travesty and all the hatred and the racism that was occurring at that time, why would you even think of being with those people? Why? I don't understand these people. That's why I'm so glad that I never wanted to be a Hollywood actor, Hollyweird, because the majority of Hollywood actors in the black community, yes, there are some that are married to black people, yes, but many of them get into drugs. They get into these interracial relationships, and then how they look after it's over, they lose everything. They wind up killing themselves, or they lose everything. They become bankrupt. Not all of them, but many of them, that has happened to them. Or drug addiction. Because when you get into situations like that, when you get into Hollywood, it's almost like you're selling your soul. It is like you're selling your soul to the devil. So I can't respect these firsts. First black model, first black this. Majority of these firsts are people who have interracial relationships. And that's the reason why they're celebrated, because they have a white partner. I can't respect it. I'm sorry. I know some people don't like what I'm saying here. Some people say, how could you say that about Dorothy Dandridge? How could you say that about the first black this and the first black that? First black supermodel was Helen Mirren. I believe even she Not Helen. I think her name was Helen. I can't remember. I'm gonna put her name in the in the description when I get her name. I'm gonna put it in the description so you guys will know what I'm talking about. I know her first name was Helen. A lot of these first, they were all swirlers. All of them were swirlers. Swirling has been going on not just now. This has been going on a long time ago. Even when interracial marriage wasn't allowed, people were still dating out. People were still getting married. They would go to places where it was allowed for them to get married to someone of a different race. Black women are the least likely to date out, the least likely to marry out, but yet they were still marrying white men, and black men were still marrying white women. And I'm sure black men were doing it more, yes, and I will always acknowledge that. But still, none of us should have been doing it at all. Especially in those times, you see what was happening to black men, getting lynched, getting beaten, getting killed for being with a white woman. Black women raped, black women being treated like shit. They would cheat on their black men and be with these white men in secrecy. These black men would do the same on their black women. Not all of them, but there would be some that would do that. I don't fathom, and I can never understand how you would be able to do that or live with yourself when you see the type of climate that you are living in then and the type of climate that you're living in now. You think that you're changing the world by being with someone outside of your race, especially a white person? It's not true. You're not doing anything revolutionary. You're not doing anything to stop racism, because there are black people right now in relationships with white people who are still racist, and they have not changed their mind about black people at all. They just want to have sex with the black person that they're with, so they're with that person for the time being. But they're not changing their ideals at all. 9 times out of 10, the black person that's in a relationship with the white person will change their mindset and think the way that they think, and forget about black people and forget about themselves being black. Take the side of the oppressor and look at black people as if they are the problem. Okay? And that's just the reality of it. I'm not telling you anything that's untrue. I'm telling you the truth. And you could tell me I'm a liar, but I'm not, because these facts have been proven in many relationships, in interracial relationships. You even see instances where there are black women that want to play the slave role. There are black men that are in denial about their white women being racist, because they feel the white woman is having sex with them and has married them, so they're not racist. The same thing with black women. They think that their mate is not racist because they're with them and they've had children with them. It's just not the reality. It's just not true. So I can't respect a lot of these people, a lot of these actors and actresses from back then, even ones now. I got a little bit of respect for Pam Grier because she did step outside, but she stepped outside with a Spanish dude, and I've seen that before. That doesn't really bother me. The majority of the men she was with were black men. She might have been with a white man when she was older, but I don't care at that point. She's old, and she's not with anybody now. You know, but I just really can't respect a lot of the shit that I've learned about black people who were in cinema, and that's why I don't have a lot of respect for Hollywood actors, Hollyweird actors now. They're no good. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. I'll talk to you guys next time. Sorry I took so long to talk. I just keep going and going. I'm sorry. But let me know what you think about this in the comment section. I'm sure the views will be very slow because I'm still suppressed by YouTube, but that's fine. I love you all, and I'll talk to you very soon. Thank you.